Okay. Alrighty. So, good afternoon. So, my name is Chris Joslin. Let's do a couple of checks first. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Fantastic. And am I coming through nice and clear? A bit distorted? Too loud? Too quiet? Let's get my levels correct. Okay, fantastic. Great participation here. Fantastic. Love that. All right. So my name is Chris Joslin. I am the professor and the director of the School of Information Technology. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to present to you about the programs that come under the BIT degree, or the Bachelor of Information Technology degree, as of 2021. I'm going to kind of go through from the perspective of the fact that we have lots of common aspects to the program. So I'm going to talk about those first. And then I'm going to talk about the fact that we have 4 programs. You'll find that I will use the abbreviations a lot because otherwise it becomes a mouthful. But we have Information Resource Management, IRM, Interactive Multimedia and Design, IMD, Network Technology, NET, and Optical Systems and Sensors, which is OSS. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the future events that we have coming up, and then at the end, if we have any questions, let's put that in at the end, just so that I'm not talking about you asking me a question and then me explaining it in the next slide. So basically, what we're going to start with today is the fact that all the Bachelor of Information Technology programs are a collaboration between Algonquin College and Carleton University. And that has lots of advantages, which I'm going to take you through. And one of the main things that it does is it actually provides you within the standard period of your degree with both a degree and a diploma set up as a 4-year program. And so you get the Bachelor of Information Technology degree, regardless of the program, so IRM, IMD, NET, and OSS. And you get a Library and Information Technician Diploma for IRM. You get a Diploma in Applied Arts for IMD, an Advanced Technology Diploma from NET, and an Advanced Diploma in Photonics and Laser Technology from OSS. And you get both of those within the time period. So when you graduate, you actually walk on stage, convocation, and you'll get both degree and diploma in your hand. And in addition to that, we have the distinction and high distinction for outstanding students. The other very important part of this, and one of the reasons why the programs were started, was that the collaboration between Algonquin and Carleton provides you with a practical and theoretical mix. That means that from the practical side, having that hands-on training, dealing with the software and the hardware that you would see in industry, not sort of open source, never see it again kind of thing, but really the hardware and the software that you will see in a majority of places means that you are job ready when going out. And that's a very important aspect for a lot of employers, because if we brought you into a very theoretical program, you never tried the hardware, you never tried the software, you will have a large amount of training at the beginning. You'll struggle to get to understand the material. You might have 6 weeks to even 6 months training to get up to speed on what that company is using. And being job ready means that you're actually there, the company can employ you, and you're able to do the job that they want you to do. So for the company, it's actually less of a risk, because they're saying, well, have you worked with this software? Have you used this hardware? You say, yes, I spent 4 years using that hardware and that software. And they're like, great. And we'll come back to some of the examples of that a little bit later on, especially with co-op. But that job ready element really is a key thing for employers to get you right into the company hired straight away. But we also teach you the theoretical. We teach you the background, the base knowledge that is needed. And this is for your long-term career growth, your higher salary growth. So we're not just teaching you how to use the equipment or how to, make changes or updates or, reconfigure it. We're actually teaching you how to move on up through your career and get those higher salaries. And that's obviously very important when you're trying to move towards, buying a house, settling down, having kids of your own. You need that long-term career growth. Maybe not something that you're looking at this point in time, but definitely something that you will need to have in your future. The other thing about these programs is that they are agile programs. We have an industrial oversight committee, and that's one per program, so we actually have 4. And they are members from key companies that both hire and are influential in the industry. And what that means is that we talk to them about what is new, what is current, and how we can adapt our courses towards what is actually being required. And I'll give you an example in a second, but what that really means is that we update our programs to meet the demands of and changes that are coming up, so that when you go out, when you graduate, you're ready with the technology that you need, not technology that's 6, 10, 20 years old. And I'll give you an example, a very good example of that. When 2008, when the iPhone first came out, Apple decided they were not going to support Flash. And at the time, Flash was very predominant in the web area. And what happened was that the situation at the time was there was so many programs, so many software, websites, so many companies using Flash that it was very difficult to get around. But they then had to move towards something that Apple supported because they were also very influential in the industry. So Flash died and disappeared out of the industry, and has been replaced by other elements, and especially things like HTML5. But at the time, we adapted to that to make sure that students weren't going out with the education in Flash that would, ultimately not help them by the time they graduated. Especially because your program is 4 years. 4 years is a long time in an industry that is shifting very, very fast. Oh, sorry, just jumped. So what we also have is that all programs are fully integrated from day one. That means that your classes are swapping between Algonquin and Carleton, so you're fully integrated and you're treated as a student at both places. Now, this switches on year to year, so depending on how many classes you might have more Carleton classes on a day, more Carleton classes on a week, or more Carleton classes on more Algonquin classes in a week. But overall, there's approximately a 60-40 ratio between the two institutions. And the main thing about that is that on a year basis, on a term basis, you will not be doing a Carleton class and Algonquin class on the same day. So it's one day Algonquin, next day Carleton, next day Algonquin, for example, so that you are not running between the two institutions trying to take different classes. You will wake up in the morning, you'll go to one institute, you wake up the next morning, you'll probably go to the next institute. Really depends on the schedule, but overall that's approximately what you'll be doing. And this is an example of the current full term schedule for fall. And you can see here Algonquin on Monday and Wednesday, and Carleton on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So a couple other things about this collaboration is that, first of all, you have to apply through the OUX system, Ontario University's Application Centre. You're treated as a student in both places, but most of your bits and pieces in terms of course registration, in terms of awards and all these types of things are done through Carleton. Your facilities that are available to you are also at both places, so library, gym, pool, tennis, squash courts, things like that are, they're all there and accessible for you. There's some really great facilities at both places. In terms of residence, if you're in Toronto or further afield and you're coming for residence, most students will reside at Carleton, but there is a possibility for you to reside at Algonquin. It sort of depends on what you're doing and what's nearby. But as I said, most students, bar a few, will reside at Carleton. So in terms of co-op, we also offer the opportunity to go out for co-op. You are generally going out for a 12-month period. That 12-month period out in industry provides you with that real-world experience. It allows you to reinforce your education. You also have the opportunity to go out for the first summer just after the second year and also the last summer before fourth year. Those are optional work terms, but you can also go out for those as well. Now, obviously, with the fact that you're going out for 12 months in industry, you are really, in the case, going out and extending your stay from 4 years to 5 years. But it does give you lots of benefits. Now, one of the big benefits, obviously, is that you would be experiencing a company environment, and getting to know the industry in itself. I think that's very important. You get paid. The payment is actually pretty decent nowadays. Nominally between about $20 to $35 per hour, depending on your experience. But one of the bigger aspects, I think, which is also key to this, is that you can try out different things. So you don't have to go out for 12 months in one place. You can go out for 4 months in one place, 4 months in another, and 4 months in something else. And it gives you the opportunity to try different things if you're not very sure which type of industry you want to go into. It's very difficult to apply for jobs afterwards and then find out after 6 months that it really wasn't for you and you wanted to take a different aspect of that program. So, there's that experience and that being able to try out lots of different things is obviously very important. In terms of application, you can apply to co-op before you or at the same time as you apply to the program, but you can apply to the co-op up until the fall of the second year. The reason for that is you have things that you need to accomplish before you go out for the first summer work term. And if you don't go out for that summer work term, you can also apply a little bit later as well. Carleton provides you with job search assistance, interview practice, helps with resumes, and gives you access to a massive job database. We have an excellent placement success, and there are lots of different companies available. We've had students go, we've actually had students go as far as Japan, but in general, we've had students go as far as Vancouver. And there's lots of things that you can try. So the environment is highly experiential learning based. A lot of places right now are talking about experiential learning. We've been doing this since 2003. We approach this using a studio and lab based approach, very practical, but also mixed in with the theory. We have an outstanding student-instructor ratio. So right now, if you're in high school, you're experiencing something like 24 to 28 students to an instructor. A lot of programs in university are 300 to 1. We are in the range. Our smallest program is 48 to 1, and our biggest program is 72 to 1. So you're not coming into big classrooms and not knowing anybody and just being sort of a face in the crowd. We really get to know our students, and I think that's very beneficial all the way through your education, but also for afterwards when you're looking for references and support with your career. As I said, we have highly adaptive programs. We're up to date with the latest trends. All our labs are state-of-the-art, so we have lots of the latest software and the industry standard to boot, as well as the hardware. Dedicated machines, latest hardware, ultra-wide screen monitors. We used to have dual screen monitors. Now we're into ultra-wide screen monitors as they've started to become available. 24/7 access to labs. You can swipe your card into the building and then go into the lab and spend your time using the machines. We also provide the ability to participate in research programs. So faculty members from both institutions have research programs, paid research programs at undergraduate, master's, and PhD level. So if you're not in Ottawa and you're wondering how to get from Carleton to Algonquin College, there is no dedicated shuttle bus, but there is a fantastic bus route. It takes around 25 minutes end to end, depending on the point at which you catch the train. But you can basically take, going from Carleton to Algonquin, you're taking the O train down to Mooney's Bay, and then the bus across from Mooney's Bay to Algonquin. If you're coming with a car, you can buy a parking pass for Carleton, and then you can park in Algonquin free of charge. You don't pay extra for that, and you just use parking lot 12. So let me talk a bit about the each individual programs now, and sort of get into the nitty-gritty of what they're about, and try and provide you with information that helps you decide whether this is the program for you. So what I've done is, at least in terms of the first few elements of the these slides, I've talked about the keywords that are related to the program, and I've talked a little bit about the courses that you may have taken that you may have enjoyed. I've talked about the other courses that are requirements, and so on and so forth. So I think this is very important, because when you're in high school, you hear the sound of a program, you say, that sounds like the program for me. You don't want to start a year into a program and find out that it's not for you. That's really not what you want to be spending your time at university doing. And it can be very daunting, because at high school you have a lot of courses that are really not related to the university courses that you might go into, and trying to figure out whether they're for you, and enjoy your time there, and feel like you're learning interesting subjects is all part of what we're trying to do today. So I'm going to start with the IRM program. I'm going to go IRM IMD and Net OSS. So let's start with IRM. So here I've got some keywords at the bottom. So if any of those catch your attention, they don't all have to catch your attention, but if any of those catch your attention, then this might be the program for you. So data organization, data analytics, big data, library sciences, research methods, statistics, and web interfaces. So in the program, I sort of give you an idea of why this program came about, but basically what we're dealing with in this program is the organization and presentation of digital information, documents and media that might be from a company or a digital library or anything else that's basically storing data. And lots of companies store data at this time, and it's digital data. It used to be more paper-based filing cabinets full of the stuff. Now we're dealing with PDFs and databases and all these types of things in between. So I want you to imagine. So when I was a young boy, I used to have a camera, and it wasn't an SLR camera. It wasn't a digital camera, but it was an SLR camera. And each camera, each film comes with about 24 to 36 shots that you can make. So when you're taking pictures very carefully. You're not taking pictures of your food. You're not taking pictures of your dog sleeping. You're really being very careful, because not only do you only have 36 shots in the camera, but you have to go and take this to be processed, and you have to pay somebody to process that film. So it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of energy. And so what we're doing with that photo is we're very carefully selecting what we want to take. When I've had my first child, and then ultimately my second child, we were taking pictures of every single thing. Something cute, something, you know, all this kind of thing. They walked, they talked, they moved, they lifted up a cup. It was everything that was cute, we took a picture of. And by the end of the sort of the baby and child period, we probably had nearly a terabyte worth of data. Now, one of the problems with that is that the only way to figure out where that picture was, if we want to go back and look at that picture, because there are so many, is that we have the date, and that's it. Right? We don't know where it is. We don't know which location. Sometimes now we can have a GPS location attributed to that photo, but overall we are really only able to figure out that date now. Figure out that photo now from the date. Oh, we took it on this, probably around this date, and we searching for that date. Now, if I put that into Google, if I upload those photos to Google Drive, Google will actually sort through the photos that you have and add some metadata tags. And so if I now have, I want to look for a picture of a bike, if I type in the picture of a bike, it will find a picture of a bike because it's searching through and tagging metadata to all my photos. Now, intrusive as that is, it's also very helpful because otherwise I'd never be able to find all the pictures that I have, that I have of my bike. And that's just me and my family. Now imagine an organization which has to store and retrieve and present all of this data and deal with it on an sort of daily basis where various people need all sorts of data and all this kind of thing, or even some analysis for presentation. And that's where the IRM program comes from, is that we are producing graduates that will be able to do this. They'll be able to organize, sort that information, be able to present it, and provide analysis of it in order to, a variety of different bases and variety of different needs. Okay. So the entrance requirements for the program is 4U 4M English, any 4U 4M Mathematics, and that includes Mathematics of Data Management, Advanced Functions, or Calculus and Vectors, and then 4U 4M credits. There is a capacity of 48 students in this program. So, ideal student, what we're looking for, things that you may have done and found interesting, things like computing or mathematics, especially the mathematics of data management. General interests might include web development, data visualization, data analytics, digital libraries, or research. Now, I put research in there because I found that when discussing with the digital librarian, that research was a big part of what interested her in her position. And that was because when somebody wanted some information, they said, right, I want this. I want to find out this type of thing. And then she would go off and do her research on that subject. It's not just looking for a book, but actually researching the subject and pulling data and providing an analysis of that data. So I put in research there because I think there's a very key word there. So if you're looking for a solid career, high demand, range of companies, there's very, a lot of big companies need resource managers, but key to that is the government orientation, because government, obviously in Ottawa, there's a lot of government, federal government, and lots of other groups as well, and they have lots and lots of data that needs processing and presenting and organizing and all those other bits and pieces, and so there's there's a lot of demand there. Other relevant high school courses that you may have taken that you found interesting: computer science, computer programming, and mathematics of data management. It's all digital information, so computing is very important. So, wide range of career opportunities to manage digital resources and services both in the private and the public sectors. Careers include things like data analyst, database developer, web e-commerce developer, information officer, research data or information manager, or digital resources librarian. Salary range, well, those are which is a major consideration. So starting salary range for a data analyst in Canada is around the 56K mark. I don't think there's a lot of bonus or profit sharing in this type of range of job, but definitely going up from that point in time. Other program highlights include a minor, which is built in. So there's actually a flexible structure within the program to incorporate a minor and develop your own subject area. We have a practicum, so there's lots of opportunities for experiential learning in a variety of different companies. Carleton's Monochrome Library is one of those that providing with practical experience, and they're just really what they are is small projects that you do as part of the course. We offer French language training, which is an essential for the federal government. If you're going to move up through the federal government, you need to be able to speak both English and French. And there is a bridging program. So if you're currently in the library program at Algonquin, then you can bridge into this one. There are other library programs across the country that we can also bridge into. So, IMD, or Interactive Multimedia and Design, keywords, game design development, web dev, animation, visual effects, film industry, interactive museums, virtual reality, augmented reality, Arduino, or SparkFun, I think. So, in this program, we're looking at the idea of covering a range of digital media. So we're covering things like game design, development, 2D and 3D animation, web design, and visual effects. But the main thing with this is that it's a technical, artistic, or creative mix between the two parts of those same industries. So all of these industries have I haven't done networking yet, no. All of these industries have a creative and creative and technical mix to them, but usually that's two different people. In this case, we're making it one person. And that has huge advantages and huge demand. So the program capacity is 60 students. We require 1 4U4M advanced functions, 1 portfolio, which I shall discuss next, and 5 4U4M credits. So the advanced functions is really the technical side of that. We're looking at both your mathematics side and that you will see in the program. But we also require a portfolio to look at your creative side. Okay, and I say creative very clearly because it's not about your ability to be artistic. It's about your ability to be creative in a visual sense. Okay. So this is actually due, update that. There you go. Sorry about that. So March 1st, 2022, approximately 4 months from now, we require a cover letter explaining why you're a good match for the program, resume, outlining things like education, awards, skills, experience. But the most important part of this is your 6 to 8 samples of creative work. Okay? And so we are looking at all sorts of different types of creative work. You can do everything from painting to sketching to charcoal, acrylic, oil, all those types of things. but also we're looking for work such as your digital side. So Adobe Illustrator, 3D work from Blender, 3ds Max, Maya, all those bits and pieces, and beyond. And you can do, you can put together some games. You can have put together some videos, done some work in Adobe After Effects, and more besides. But what we're looking for is your ability to be creative. Okay. Now I have a presentation in a couple of weeks' time, on the 19th of November, and I have another one in December where I will talk a little bit about the requirements of the portfolio in a lot of detail. So if you are interested in this program, you do need to submit a portfolio. There is no admission without the portfolio, but I will go into a lot of detail which will help you to understand what those requirements really are. Okay, but when I say in creative work, I don't mean you need to be a great painter. I mean you need to be creative, and that might come out in video, that might come out in Photoshop. There are all sorts of avenues for that creative work to come out in. Okay, we're looking for a PDF and a video. We don't accept paper anymore, not since many years, and no email submissions are accepted either. Okay. So one of the thing about the IMD program, which is actually fairly unique to the IMD program at this point in time, is that it is available in streams. So the streams are available, well, you sign up from the first year, but in general, you're not actually seeing any difference until you get to the fourth year. So you can change the streams as you're, as you head towards fourth year, because you might enjoy one thing over another that you didn't think you would. Animation and visual effects. So there's three streams: animation and visual effects, which is mainly 3D animation, visual effects, and more of the technical creative side to the industry rather than the artistic side. We deal with the other. When I'm saying that, I mean that we're really balancing between the two, rather than just teaching really the very artistic side. Game design and development. So we're dealing with both design and development within the game industry. So if you're interested in developing games, that is the stream for you. And we also have the WUXI program, which is the web user interface program, which covers all the common aspects of web user experiences and interfaces, both from the front end and the back end. And each stream has electives, so there are 3 core courses that you have to take, and then you have the choice of 3 other electives to focus on which way you want to go in that direction. Ideal student: computing, mathematics, design, visual arts. If you have general interests in the design and technical aspects of creative disciplines, working with Adobe Creative Suite, which if you use it, you know what's in there. 3D packages, including things like Unreal, Unity, 3ds Max, Cinema 4D, Blender. It really depends on the school that you're at, what you're getting exposure to. Interested in digital media, web, games, animation, visual effects, augmented reality, virtual reality type of thing are good indicators. I'm not going to read this list, but here's a list of courses that you may have taken, and if you enjoyed, they are good indicators that you will enjoy the IMD program. If we look at, even the first one, it's almost the same: interactive new media and animation. Different high schools have different Comtech courses, so you're going to find that some of these courses you never heard of, but if you have taken them, then they are good indicators. There's careers across Canada. Visual effects are more in Vancouver and Montreal. We've got big game studios in Toronto and Montreal. Toronto has some great web dev companies. Animation in Vancouver and Toronto, and some more 2D studios in Ottawa. UX, UI is everywhere, and many places in Ottawa, surprisingly. Very densely packed in Ottawa. But there's a lot of companies that they're looking for UX, UI. One of those is Google. So Hannah Johnston actually completed her master's at Carleton after she'd finished in the IMD program, and then she works at Google as a senior user experience design lead, and she worked both in New York and in Waterloo. Omar Hisham completed his PhD, and now he's at Zetane Systems, and he's the graphics and DevOps lead. Typical salary range of a technical director, which is a fantastically accurate position to go into coming out of the IMD program, is about 114K. So we have some fantastic studios. We have a mocap studio which covers stuff like body and face, industry standard system, 21 cameras, so it's really amazing system. We've got film and recording studio, 6K cameras, stabilizers, cranes, dolly tracks, green screens, and backdrops. We have sound studios, which are acoustic balanced. You can do voice and music recording, animation, and game voice tracks. And we have a relatively new makerspace with 3D printers and laser cutters and vacuum formers and all sorts of things besides. Network program, so networking, network administrator, system administrator, Cisco certified, network professional and associate, Juniper Networks, solid career, excellent salary. So network technology is focused on the design, installation, operation, and management of future complex informative networks. Specialized networking courses covering networking concepts and skills required by network engineers. Current program capacity is 72 students. You need 1 of the mathematics to get in, and then 5 for U4M credits. Oh, sorry, I changed the wrong slide. I'll give you a second for that. Okay, ideal students, school subjects are computing and networking. In general interests include computer communications, routers, switches, hacking. If your parents often ask you to fix the router and you're enjoying that, then this is a good segue into the program. Looking for a solid career, very high demand. Most of our students are getting jobs in their 3rd year and going straight into jobs without problem. And there's no expectation for that to change. Every company now has a network of some kind, and it does take people to manage that. So take that into consideration, that we're not likely to see any change in that soon. If you're looking at high school courses that you've taken, it might be interesting. These are the lists that you might have had access to. Again, depends on the high school you went to. Networking is a good example, but there's all sorts of variations thereof. Careers available in every industry that use networks. Careers include network administration, designer, planner, installation, management. You can go and work for telecom companies. You can go and work for software dev companies, consultant companies, other business enterprises, and you can even go on to graduate studies. Within the network technology program, we do certification training. So we train you, you take the exam somewhere else. We cover things like CCNA, CCMP. You will do the CCIE, but you will not be able to take the exam until 2 years following graduation, because it's a requirement that you spend 2 years in industry. And any undergraduate program claiming otherwise is not telling you the truth. Network certification from Nokia, NRS 1 and 2, and SRA, and we also run special courses from Juniper. All right. Salary ranges, so sort of around about the average salary range is around 76 for a CCNP certification. If you get your CCIE certification, your starting salary is around 92. Well, nearly 93 now. Oops, skipped a slide. There we go. So the last program on this list, optical systems and sensors. So keywords are optics, photonics, electronics, computing, autonomous vehicles, remote sensing, high-speed comms, latest technology, in-demand technical career. So basically what we've done with this program is we've looked at the industry demand that has come since Nortel collapsed in 2008. And what happened then is that all these other highly qualified engineers went into other companies and they came in and sort of filled in the vacuum. And so now they're looking for highly qualified graduates that have both, or the experience of having optics with electronics with computing. And so we have the entrance requirements are advanced functions and 5 4U 4M credits and a program capacity of 48. General interests include computing, mathematics, physics, electronics. If you're interested, you enjoy math and physics at high school. Keen to work with the latest technology. Optical systems are the latest stuff. There's nothing in electronics that comes as close to how new this topic is. Electrical engineering would be literally too mundane of a subject. Latest technology, there's lots of demand from the Ottawa region because we've got companies like Sienna, Huawei, Ericsson, Nokia, who are all looking for students. Relevant high school courses include computer engineering, interfacing electronics, and others besides. If you have taken these courses and found them interesting, again, they're mostly ComTech courses, then that's a good indication you will enjoy this program. Lots of careers: optical network designer, electro-opto developer, photonics design specialist, photonics engineer, display researcher, optical sensor integration specialist, LiDAR software developer. Lots of industries in telecom, biomed, autonomous vehicles, defense, aviation, environmental sensing and protection, and there's also graduate school in master's and PhD. Typical salaries start around the 58 range and go up to around 154,000 for optical fiber and communications engineer. We have state-of-the-lab facilities, optical photonics lab, advanced optics and laser lab, and the optics and imaging lab, some of which are specialized for students to use and supported by local companies. So one of those is Sienna. They provided a multi-million-dollar upgrade to our optical network lab last year, including a Sienna 6500 packet optical wave platform and a wave server platform, if you have heard of them. Latest and most advanced sector in the electronics computing industry, high demand from companies locally and across Canada. And you can even work with professors locally. 2 Canadian research chairs are actually in Carleton in the area of photonics, so you can work with them as well. Okay, so I've got to wrap up. Apparently I'm over time already. Design Day is coming up on the 19th as listed. We've got SEDS programs on the 27th, 14th for Fed Info Night, and then for Portfolio Day, if you're submitting a portfolio for IMD, then December 11th, January 8th, and February 5th are there available for you for review as well as a presentation. January 28th to January 30th, there will also be a global game jam as well. I will leave you with a list of the SEDS topics we have coming up on the 27th. Do we have questions? I see we have questions in the Q&A. I'm not sure what to do with those. I got so many. Okay, let's start with the top then. Anything there I need to answer? Okay. No, you don't need any experience in computer science to get into IMD. But what I would say is that if you get the chance, do get an opportunity to do some programming, mainly because if you haven't had an experience, and it can be quite a difference coming into the program, and that way you're not suddenly faced with all these computers in front of you. Where would it be best to live if you want to live on residence? That's going to be in Carleton, I would say. Any other questions I'm missing? Christine, am I missing a question that I need to answer? Okay. All right. All right. Anybody have any other questions for me today, this morning, this afternoon? Oh, it's this afternoon. Cutoff range. We don't have a cutoff range in terms of score because the portfolio influences that. We don't look at your application until we've looked at your portfolio. So there is there's sort of a range, but it's also influenced by your portfolio. To know what the actual lowest score is, I'd have to go and check, but that admissions would know that. Programming languages to start with, I would always start with Python. There's lots of Python tools out there, and yeah. I actually don't know any of the cutoff ranges. I only know the averages, so better to ask admissions for the cutoff ranges. The averages are in the 80s. But don't forget, we're taking in, we have a lot of applications, and then we're taking a selection of the top students out of that group. And in IMD, it's more deployed from the portfolio, but from other programs, it's deployed from the school. Okay, apparently I have to direct you to the information technology booth for more information. Apparently I have to end this session and push you towards the booth. All right, well, thank you very much. I hope you know how to get to the booth, because I'm not sure. And I hope you have a great afternoon if otherwise.